Have you ran into Spike Lee since then?
Yes, and I didn't. I was told not to go over to him because I said I was going to knock him the and I don't respect his business policies. I am not going to comment about Spike Lee. I said what I said, and I stand by what I said. But if you go research and ask some actors the kind of business that he did, you'll be able to make a determination for yourself. Like producers do, I'm never going to agree with, and I got a lot of flack for it. I don't dislike Spike Lee. I dislike some of his business practices.
Say, Oprah Winfrey, you know what you need to do, and stop hiding behind what you call was negative comments, what you call, oh, I don't even deal with things like that, because what people are beginning to do is see you for who you are.
What is that black dick connected to? That black man? So no, I was not blackballed. I was whiteballed. By some black who had no balls. Thank you, Mr. Lee Daniels. Thank you, Mr. Tyler Perry. Thank you, Miss Oprah Winfrey.
Have you ran into Spike Lee since then? Yes, and I didn't. I was told not to go over to him because I said I was going to knock him and I don't respect his business policies. I am not going to comment about Spike Lee. I said what I said and I stand by what I said. But if you go research and ask some actors the kind of business that he did, you'll be able to make a determination for yourself. Producers do that I'm never going to agree with. And I got a lot of flack for it. I don't dislike Spike Lee. I dislike some of his business practices. Let's say Oprah Winfrey. You know what you need to do and stop hiding behind what you call was negative comments. What you call, oh, I don't even deal with things like that, because what people are beginning to do is see you for who you are. What is that black dick connected to? That black man. So no, I was not black-baldled. I was white-bald. By some black who had no balls. Thank you, Mr. Lee Daniels. Thank you, Mr. Power. Thank you, Miss Oprah Winfrey. Let's be real for a second. When it comes to power moves in Hollywood, Oprah's name always finds a way into the mix. She's the billionaire media mogul, the so-called queen of talk, and for years her image has been polished like gold. Flawless, inspiring, untouchable. But behind those bright smiles and perfectly crafted speeches, there's another side to the story. One that doesn't match the glossy magazine covers and feel-good interviews. And right now, that hidden side is getting exposed like never before. For years, Monique has been raising her voice, saying she wasn't just difficult or hard to work with like the industry tried to label her. According to her, she was punished, shut out intentionally. She was blackballed. And now, Clifton Powell has stepped into the conversation, backing her claims and turning quiet whispers into loud, undeniable shouts. Suddenly, Monique isn't standing alone anymore. It's accepted if Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey get off of the pedestal of power and deal human being to human being. Yes, I don't know if it's a chapter, but forgiveness is necessary. But you can't forgive if they've not asked for forgiveness. And that's a quote from Oprah Winfrey. How can you forgive if they not asked for forgiveness? And other people are starting to confirm that what happened to her wasn't some random coincidence. It was calculated. And let's not act like Monique just disappeared because she lost a touch. We're talking about an Academy Award winner here, a powerhouse comedian and actress who commanded the stage like few others could. She had proven herself, earned her moment, and the spotlight should have only gotten brighter. So why did Hollywood slam the door on her at the peak of her career? According to Monique, and now echoed by Powell, this wasn't about talent drying up. This was about power, control, and making an example out of someone who wouldn't play by the unwritten rules. The real answer sits right in the middle of three names that are practically warped when people talk about black excellence. Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Spike Lee. Think you because you get pigeonhole. You at the top, your price has gone skyrocketed. You can't jump down and just do TV because your agents ain't going to take that deal. So now you're worth $20 million a picture. Now somebody offer you a TV series, they only going to give you $10 million. You can't take your agent not going to take that. So it's a false bottom. And I'm not saying it happens to every actor, but if you do your research after the Oscar, a lot of people just kind of fall off. And that's exactly what makes the situation so uncomfortable for a lot of folks. Because if what's being said is true, then the same icons who were praised for breaking barriers and opening doors might have actually been the ones shutting them behind Monique when she refused to bow down. That flips the whole narrative upside down. This story isn't just about Monique missing out on a few movie roles. It's way deeper than that. It's about a power structure where black women who don't play the Hollywood game, who don't soften their voice or fall in line, get pushed to the margins while the gatekeepers at the top keep their position safe. Monique stood tall and demanded respect, plain and simple. But instead of being celebrated for her courage, she was painted as ungrateful, like she didn't know her place. And what stings even more is that this wasn't the work of some distant outsiders. It came from her own community's top figures. She wasn't just ignored, she was strategically silenced. And that silence didn't happen by accident. It was planned, controlled, executed. Now, years later, cracks are finally showing and the truth is starting to leak out through those polished walls. Oprah, Tyler, Spike, these aren't some background characters. These are global powerhouses whose decisions shape entire careers. And if they really played a role in locking Monique out, then this isn't just a personal feud. This is a cultural reckoning. According to Monique and Clifton Powell, those industry heavyweights had no issue using their power to keep their own images spotless, even if it meant throwing Monique under the bus. In a recent interview, Powell peeled back layers of his life that most people had never heard before. And in doing so, he pulled the curtain back even further on the hidden rules actors like Monique are forced to play by in Hollywood. He eased into the conversation, starting with personal stories about his family, a comment about how winning an Oscar is like the kiss of death. What do you mean by that? It is. 'Cause you hit a ceiling and there's nowhere to go. So once you hit the top, the only place to go is down. Kevin Bacon said the best place to be in Hollywood is in the middle, 'cause what happens when you get an Oscar? If you don't follow that up with the hit, like I said, you got to bring in $1 million. If you don't hit, then you flop. And then they really hard on you, then didn't so and so win the Oscar. What happened? And he fell off. It's hard, so you got to be careful. Powell shared something that caught everyone off guard. His son once dated one of the Obama daughters. Because of that, the Secret Service ran full background checks on their family, digging into every corner of their lives. He laughed about it during the interview, but the message underneath wasn't a joke. When you step into certain circles, there are always eyes watching, always people digging, always a system waiting to see if you measure up. Powell explained how he raised his son to move smart and respectful, telling him straight up that if emotions ever got the best of him, the CIA would be at their door and there'd be nothing he could do to stop it. That wasn't just fatherly advice, it was survival training, his words about responsibility, self-control, and knowing when to walk away instead of fighting hit hard, because they mirror exactly how actors have to maneuver in Hollywood. You step out of line, even a little, and the system is ready to shut you down without hesitation. In Hollywood, the unspoken rule is simple. Play the game, keep your head down and don't step out of line, or the system will chew you up and spit you out. Powell didn't hold back when the conversation turned to the real gritty side of the industry. The interviewer brought up a bold comment he had made before. Winning an Oscar can be like receiving the kiss of death. And Powell didn't flinch. He doubled down on it. He broke it down step by step. When you hit that so-called peak, your price shoots through the roof, expectations skyrocket, and suddenly the same machine that once cheered for you flips into a cold, calculating enemy. What Charles Dutton said, he said Clifton Powell wasn't wrong. He knows. And so all I'll say is go read what I said and I stand by it, and I never threatened him. But I don't appreciate how he did business with us back in the day. Not me, but my friends, because I've never worked with him. But just do your research. Black folks, do your research before you comment and condemn somebody. You know, we got to be better than the man to each other. If you don't follow that Oscar win with back-to-back blockbusters, the whispers start. Studios quietly say, didn't they just win an Oscar? What happened? Agents stop taking smaller deals because your market value is inflated now, and television is considered a downgrade your team won't allow. Just like that, the golden trophy turns into a trap. Something that looks like success on the outside but locks you into a box you can't escape. Powell explained how that illusion of glory can actually crush careers. And when you apply that lens to Monique's story, it fits perfectly. She won the Oscar for Precious, and instead of doors flying open, they slammed shut with force. Everything Powell described played out in real time in her life. The celebration, the sudden freeze, and the walls closing in from every direction. Monique's Oscar win should have been her golden ticket, but instead it became the perfect excuse to paint her as ungrateful just because she wouldn't bend to Hollywood politics. Her refusal to bow down wasn't seen as strength. It was twisted into a difficult label that stuck to her like glue. And while the industry turned its back, the very people she thought would lift her higher. Oprah, Tyler Perry, and Spike Lee were allegedly the ones pulling the strings behind the curtain to keep her locked out of the game. Powell's remarks about Spike Lee added even more layers to the story. He spoke openly about Spike's business moves and how folks were mistreated in the process. That man who's often praised as a champion of black cinema was, according to Powell, another gatekeeper who knew how to maneuver power, protect,